This episode of Winchester and Drury's Natural Barn is brought to you by Mossy Oak Camo.
The innate nature of man is to hunt for survival. In an ever-changing society, modern hunters still bear those natural-born instincts. To act on those instincts, every hunter faces a different set of circumstances. For the weekend warrior, it's about finding new dirt. For the gamekeeper, it's about the well-being of the wildlife. For the ultimate land manager, it's about cultivating and maintaining the natural habitat. And for the apprentice, it's about gaining the knowledge to satisfy the natural-born instinct to hunt. Winchester and Drury's Natural Born. Gobbling with the wind.
Man, if you wanted to write a prescription for the worst possible wind speed for turkeys, this is it. We got a 25 to 30 mile an hour northwest wind, and we're in here on top of this bluff. You say, well, why are you hunting high when the wind's that high? Well, this is a good roost area, and they come in because David knows where they come from. So we're hunting this top, and they'll generally pitch into these bottoms here at roost. So I'm out here at Prairie Land Outfitters. This is a hunt that I bought at a Whitetails Unlimited banquet, and I bought it because it was with my good friend David Westmore. We've been buddies for a long, long time. We used to call against each other back in the 80s. So that's how long we've known each other. So we're gonna try and get it done. How about that? I mean, that quick. We're out here with Prairie Land Outfitters, my good friend David Westmoreland. And we're sitting here looking for a gobbler that David had seen back there. And we turn around, and over the bucking tom is this big old Kansas longbeard. I mean, we have no pre-roll, but that big guy's down. This is awesome, man. It didn't take us an hour out here. We had a gobbler down. Crazy wind day, and we still got lucky. Thanks to that man scouting. There was actually an M&M wrapper that we dropped when we put the decoy out. He was right over it. How do you like that one? That works. This is awesome, man. A Kansas gobbler down.
Kyle Lamore, Summer Break. It's finally summer vacation for Natural Born cast member Kyle Lamore. For this weekend warrior, time is precious. After striking out early, he's stepping back up to the plate and taking a different approach.
We are running and gunning now, baby. We just sat for 3 hours. Had one gobbler, wouldn't come in, 2 drakes, but now, on our way back, 2 hens with longbeard. We're gonna try the old Nebraska tail fan tactic. I am not very familiar with that, but this cat, my boy Brian, is. We're at Millstone Plantation. He's gonna slide down the ditch, tail fan, and suck this thing in, right? They were right on the other side of this little dip in the cattle pasture here. So he's slipping down that old lane with the tail fan.
Natural-born cast member Kyle Lamore is chasing longbeards in Nebraska. He's out of his comfort zone and putting his faith in his guide.
We're gonna try the old Nebraska tail fan tactic. I am not very familiar with that, but this cat, my boy Brian, is. We're at Millstone Plantation. He's gonna slide down the ditch, tail fan, and suck this thing in, right? Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it. No. Oh, I see him, dude. Wait. No.
How about now?
Yes.
Tail fanning in Nebraska, baby. Tail fanning in Nebraska. We have sat in the blind for the last 2 days because of the weather. The weather has pushed out. We have tail fanned for approximately 30 seconds, and I just killed a Nebraska longbeard. So, oh boy, Millstone Plantation boys, give it up. Where you at? There's one hiding in the ditch. There's one behind the fence. Let's go see what we got. Nebraska bird down for the count, baby. Woohoo! Yeah. All right. Nice. Well, here we are. It is May the 30th, and who would have thought I would still be turkey hunting on May 30th? However, somebody who's a school teacher off for the next 3 months with a tag in their pocket, that's who. I called my buddy Brian up here in Nebraska, Millstone Plantation. We came up yesterday, rained all day, no luck, but today, a different story. We were not on this bird for 2 minutes. He had the tail fan out, probably 20 yards past me. This bird saw it, absolutely was going to attack it, but before he could get to him, Winchester was locked and loaded, baby, put him down on the spot, crumples the feathers, bird down, Nebraska tag punched. Thanks, buddy, that was cool.
Winchester, field tips with the American legend.
Hi, I'm Brad Kreiner with Winchester Ammunition, and we get folks calling in all the time wanting to know what shot size should I use, what choke tube should I use. And really, it's a matter of preference. Our turkey loads we offer in shot size 4, 5, and 6. Shot size 4, the bigger the shot you go, the more penetration you're gonna get and better knockdown, but the fewer number of pellets you have on target. With number 6, you get a lot more pellets on target, but you're not going to get as much penetration at longer distances. When it comes to choosing the right choke tube, you can go with a standard factory full choke, and there's a ton of aftermarket choke tubes out on the market that go all the way up to a 650 constriction. Again, the tighter the choke tube, the tighter the pattern, the more aim error you could have. So you really need to go out practicing with your gun before season to figure out what looks best on paper and what you're most comfortable with at the yardage you're going to shoot. For more information on Winchester and Longbeard, check us out at www.winchester.com.
Lucky number 4.
Here we go, round 2. We got Andrew Dan in the back seat. He's our shooter tonight, opening day of youth season 2013 here in North Missouri. There's some big bucks moving around, and thank God for the Reconyx cameras. We know the deer are there. They're just not showing themselves. So we're in the blind tonight, which was a new blind we built to sort of commemorate Andrew having an encounter with Lucky last year. We're gonna see what happens tonight. Andrew's up to bat. Opening day of youth season, Andrew and I did not see a deer in the daylight this morning. We hunt the Centerfield Shooting House, which is really, really rare. It's full of biologic. You got a brand new blind, you're the first one hunting it. We can shoot out of the front or the back. We just have to flip the windows around and spin you around, okay?
Okay.
And we went out to the house and shot the gun, so you're ready to rip.
When I was young, I can tell you this, I would have loved to have a granddad like John.
There is nobody on film through the course of the years that gets more enjoyment and pleasure out of making sure that his family is taken care of when it comes to hunting.
That guy spends tons of time on his own property, and it's all for one reason, and that's his grandkids.
Are you happy?
Yep.
Me too. I like to hunt, of course, but basically I do it for my kids and grandkids. I try to teach them the whole time I'm doing it, how to walk in the woods, what works, what doesn't work. And again, I get it as big or bigger thrill, watching those kids pull the trigger. Well, give me 5. Than I do pulling the trigger myself.
This segment of DoD TV's Natural Barn is brought to you by PSC's Carbon Air Experience Performance.
Opening day of youth season, Andrew and I did not see a deer in a day like this morning. It's about 2. We're gonna go ahead and get in the blind. Alrighty, let's go. It's a year and a half and a 2.
He's gonna walk right out. You see him, Andrew. All right, just stay on him, okay? He's chasing that doe. There's another doe in this field. Yeah. Don't come now. Get next to that little buck. There's the doe. There's the doe. Right there. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Here he comes. Here he comes. Whenever he gets broadside, let him do it. Let's see. Let's go. Watch out. You're gonna get ready. Let's go. Okay. Easy, hurry up. Start the tape. Okay. Yeah, on him, Andrew. Whenever. Let him stop. I'm on him. You on him, Andrew. I'm on him. Take him.
You got it.
I got him.
You got him, I heard it.
I got him. I saw him.
How about them apples? You old knucklehead. That's awesome, buddy.
That right there reminds me of Bruiser.
We looked right at dark, didn't find any blood. I went back and got mom and little sister, and we're gonna try to just sort of spread out and go in here and see what we can find. Yeah, look here, Andrew. Here, it's going this way. He's spraying it out. Oh, look here, Andrew.
Look at that.
We got the tag right here to put on his. Oh, look at there. Get over here, Andrew. Hey, remember a couple years ago when you shot Bruiser? You couldn't count very well?
Yeah.
Let's see how many we got on this one, and consider one's broke off.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6,
6,
7,
8,
9, 10.
11,
What about that one?
12.
12 pointer. Give me 5. Hug me. Oh, you little goober. What a night. Sweet, sweet November. Zach and I hunted last night, saw one antlerless. We hunted basically all day today with nothing. Andrew's a trooper. We got back in the new shooting house we built after the encounter with Lucky last year. About quarter till 6 tonight, it all started happening. We had a 2.5 and a 1.5 old buck run in early, and they fed into biologic a little bit. Another antlerless came in. Next thing you know, we look up and this big guy dogged a doe in, had another 3.5-year-old buck with him. Make a long story short, we got the kill, and Andrew, this is the second big deer that you've killed down here. And this was in the same field you killed your first deer in when you were 6, and you're 9 now, and what's this, your 4th buck?
Yeah,
What do you think about all this?
it's awesome.
Awesome, that's a good word. Okay.
A good morning.
Well, after a busy summer on the farm, complete with the produce business and the fall market, so it's really hard for me to get out and do any hunting until November 1st. But I was really pumped to get back in the woods. I haven't taken a deer with my bow and arrow for, well, 3 years. Last year I did manage to take the biggest buck of my career, great big, 200 and almost 2 inches, still living off of that one, and I can't wait to get back in the woods and see what happens. My favorite tool to use is probably the Reconyx cameras, and this year I was getting some really neat pictures. One we called a throwback buck, but he has beautiful throwbacks on both G2s, beautiful buck, but I've decided I really want that buck to make it one more year.
Well, Joe's putting a lot of time in working, and he's relying on Reconyx to do his work for him.
He has to rely on the Reconyx cameras to do his scouting for him, and he knew the deer were there. He just had to pick a time when he had time to go hunting.
They're the eyes, essentially, because those Reconyx cameras are amazing. And Joe is using those to make sure he's going to be in the right place at the right time.
Well, I couldn't believe it. On the first morning out, who's the first deer I see that day? It's the throwback buck.
Not a bad way to start my first morning of the year.
A little while later, a big, wide 10-pointer came through right underneath the stand. I was hesitant, wasn't sure if I was going to take him or not, but if I get another shot at that big buck, I'm going to take him. I wasn't going to pass him a second time.
Have a good morning today.
Follow our official Drury Outdoors Instagram page and tag us in your hunting pictures. It's been 3 years since Drury Outdoors veteran Joe Eugster has harvested a buck with his PSE. But thanks to Reconyx cameras and a November 2nd encounter, he has a buck in his sights, and he hopes that this year's corn harvest will help end his drought.
Well, the combines are getting started up in the area, and usually right after that, the bucks move into the timber and are more secluded and a little easier to hunt. Habitat was shrinking because the combines were combining corn all over the place, and we're just hoping that something would come out along the edge of the woods and give us an opportunity.
What a relief.
November 5th, beautiful morning. Something could happen this morning. He's done. Beautiful buck. November 5th, big 10-pointer we had underneath the tree the other day. I haven't shot a deer in 4 years. This will be the first season with my bow. I'm happy with that buck. Beautiful buck. Great shot, Joe. Yeah, I think I just smoked him. Nocturnal knock. Right up here glowing. Boy, he's a bruiser. Pretty sure it went right through his heart. Nocturnal light. I've had trouble with lights in the past. I've never had a failure on this one. Well, it's November 5th, and I finally got a big buck on the ground, a big, beautiful 10-pointer here in Wisconsin. Mark and I had an encounter with this buck on November 2nd, my first morning out. I decided that if I had another encounter with this buck, I was going to go ahead and try to harvest him. And today he gave me a perfect shot opportunity, quartering away at about 15 yards. And big old hole that Rage makes. It's unbelievable. That deer didn't know what hit him. Look right behind you, Mark. You got a buck running down the trail at a little buck coming right down this trail. It's extra special when you harvest a deer like this on your farm, when you planted and did so much work. I planted all these trees here, over 110,000 pine trees on the farm now, and when they use it like this, and I leave these overhanging branches like this, and they're using this as a major rutting core, makes it feel extra special. Big old buck like this comes in through the pines that you planted, makes it all that much more special. You hear them combines starting back up. Habitat's been shrinking every day. My doe number's probably doubled overnight. And that, along with the does, the big ones come in, and that's what we have here. Great morning to be in the woods.
Next week on Winchester and Drury's Natural Born.
First day of Iowa, first season. That was a classic, brother.
That was a good hunt.
Get back to the roots of Missouri rifle season.
Yes.
Yeah, I love school, but I'm glad I got out early.
Well, it's January 3rd.
And that caps it off. What an ending to the season.